Welcome to Vlogmas Day 4. Thank you so much for joining me today. And it's actually going to be a sit down kind of repot chop moss pole video. And it's about Philodendron Micans Aurea. I have always loved Philodendron Micans, and I always wanted a Philodendron Micans like variegated, whether it's a pink variegated, Aurea, white. I don't even know if there is a white variegated. And so the Aurea was like reasonable in price. I feel like they have come down quite a bit. They're known to revert quite easily, and mine has definitely been wanting to revert. It's spit out a couple leaves with variegation since reverting, but clearly it's not on a pole anymore. I meant to extend it and I never did, and it's like trailing off. I honestly like the look. I love that it's like twirling like this in a way. I don't know. I still don't know what to do with it, so I'm going to troubleshoot that with you today, and we're either going to chop it, we're definitely going to extend it and repot it, but I'm thinking about maybe chopping again. I don't know, but we'll see. And sorry if the lighting is a bit crazy for today's video. I brought this table, I'm going to get you a bit down closer, back into my plant room, and I haven't filmed in here like with this table in a while. The lighting in my plant room is so hard to film with because I have this bright window. I actually turned off the grow lights behind me, and then I turned off my moss pole grow lights because it was just too bright in here. So hopefully it's okay, and there's no crazy issues with that. But yeah, I'm all set up here. I have this table, definitely bringing back memories from when I used to film in here all the time. Now I just feel like with this table in here, like I can barely get around the table without knocking into plants. It's like I'm in the center of the room and there's plants all around me, and they just keep growing and expanding and like closing in on the middle space in this room. So yeah, eventually like these plants are gonna take over. There's some big plants in here. Like I'm looking at that corner. It used to be my poles were overwhelming, and they still are, but now the alocasia are taking over in here. So Philodendron Micans Aurea. I actually got this plant, it was either earlier this year or later last year. And I got it as like, actually I think I got it, has it been a year ago now? I don't remember. I got it as like an established plant. Like it was one vine. It had like 5 or 6 leaves. And then when it was shipped to me, like the newest leaf that was unfurling, was damaged, and then the one after that came in funny. And so I made the decision to chop it back, and I kind of wished I never chopped it to begin with. I had heard these were known to revert pretty easily, and I don't know, sometimes when you chop a plant back, I'm like, is it really the right decision, really the right move? Because yeah, I have had experience with Florida Beauty as well, chopping back and the growth come in reverted. Sometimes when you chop back, you can get better variegation to come in, but sometimes you don't, and sometimes it's just the risk you take when you chop a plant back. You just don't know what's going to happen. This leaf is like an original leaf down here, and it was very pretty. You can see the variegation there, and then this was like variegated here, this was variegated here, that one. So I have actually 2 vines growing side by side, so that's why it looks a little bit more full, but there's actually 2 separate vines. And then I think this was like the last, they're both reverted, both the vines. I think this one had spit out a regular green, and then this one came in after, so I was like, oh, it's gonna still continue to promote variegation. And then I think, I'm trying to see which vine is it. There's one vine that's spitting some variegation, but I think the other one is not. Let's see. I just want to separate the 2. So this vine here is completely growing in, all reverted, this one. So I think this is the one that I want to chop back. I want to chop it back to the last variegated leaf. But this one here that had, like this one reverted, it had a little bit of variegation on that leaf, and then the next one was reverted. And then this one here has a tiny bit of variegation on that leaf, and then the next one hasn't unfurled yet. But you can see the internode spacing is quite long because it doesn't have anything to cling or climb onto. And so if I go to extend it, it's literally going to be at the top of the pole, like at top of the extension. So I'm actually thinking about just going ahead and cutting this one back to this variegated leaf, just chopping it here. And then this one I might chop back further. And then I'll just propagate all these up and see what their growth comes in as, if it comes in variegated or not variegated. Part of me kind of wants to take the whole thing off and chop it back to where we had all this lovely growth. I just don't know. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as I like play around with this. I definitely need to upsize it. I don't think the plant, the base actually needs to be upsized. Like it's not super rooted in here, but if I'm going to extend it, I'm going to need a larger base so that it's more stable. So this is a 4-inch and this is a 5-inch. So I'll probably just quickly upsize. And then I have my pole extension. These are Grow Thiccly moss poles. This is the 3.0 version that opens from the front. I have moss and water here, and I have my potting mat and everything. So I'm gonna get this set up here and then we'll get busy repotting. I don't know if I will attempt to purchase another Micans Aurea, knowing how much it easily reverts. I've seen the pink ones, but I wonder if the pink ones are the same, like that are known to revert like that. The pink variegated ones are very expensive, but the price on the Aureas have definitely come down. I don't want to take a chance, I don't think, with the cutting because I feel like a cutting is too risky. I would rather have a more established plant that is like showing good color. And I initially thought like this one, when I bought it, it had like all the leaves initially were variegated and it was showing like really good color on all the leaves. So I don't know, I thought I got lucky and found one that was highly variegated, but I don't know. I think the initial chop, I think that's where I went wrong with this plant. I should have just let it, I mean, I let it acclimate, but since it was shipped to me, like, you know how sometimes new leaves, they don't come out right after it's been like shipped to you and it's had to acclimate, you know, to your environment. Ugh. Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to make room so I don't make a huge mess in here. Okay, Micans. So I do know that I want to extend it and I want to repot it. So let's go ahead and repot it first. That should be a quick plop and fill. This is my own potting mix here that I use. I'm just gonna do this over here. And we're just going to plop. I love my chunky mix so much. All right, and we'll quickly fill up around. I hope you guys are all having a good December so far. It's like, I think it's like a good 10 or 11 days away from Christmas today. Oh, it's a little crooked. Urgh. I have my regular Micans, you know, on a moss pole. I actually put it outside because I didn't have room for it. I had moved it out of my plant room and there were some mealies on it. Still, like I had chopped it, I think in my moss pole video day that I did. I think it was a few months ago at least, and you know, I had chopped it, repotted the base and everything, and I feel like it was mealy free for a while, and then I saw some popping up on it again. So I just put it outside. I put it outside maybe a few weeks ago, like when I was moving my oh shit, anthurium, you know, the anthuriums out there on that shelf. But it's doing okay so far outside, even though we've gotten some cold weather. I've been covering the plants on the patio. But it would be really nice if I could get this one to grow with variegation. Trying to fill in the gap from where that center of the root ball was. I feel like doing this Vlogmas is making me tackle some plant tasks that I have been putting off. I feel like I always have like a million plant tasks to do at once. But some of these, like clearly this one I've put off for a while, so it's nice to actually take care of this one. All right, so that is quickly repotted. I'll water it at the end. And this one I currently have sitting like in my actual south window. I just didn't have a spot for it. So it's been getting pretty intense light because the sun has been coming in like pretty intense these last several weeks or past month or so. So it's been getting pretty high light. I think some of the leaves have gotten like a bit burnt. Not, well, maybe a little sun damaged or maybe sun stressed because it's getting so much light. All right, I think before I extend, let's figure out what I want to do. Okay, so the vine that is all reverted, I don't feel like any variegation is going to come on it, which is this one here. So, oh shoot, they're so close together. I'm trying to figure out which one's which. Let me undo this latch. Okay, so that was green. I can't tell which vine is which down in here. Oh, you know what? Well, that's strange. There's only one vine potted down here, but there's two. You know what? I think what I did when I chopped it, it activated two nodes. That's what happened. Yes, I remember. I remember when it was growing two vines, I'm like, oh, it activated two when I chopped it back. Because like right here in the center, you can actually see, I don't know if you can see there, it's like the one skinny vine, and in the middle here, it activated two growth points. So I'm gonna have to chop both back if I am trying to promote variegation, right? Because this one that shot out might have just been like a second node that wasn't growing variegated. Oh, I don't want to chop the whole thing back. No. I want to keep this one growing. I think that might have been the main vine. So this extra node here, if I cut it back, I just don't think it's going to grow anything. Oh, I think I know where I can chop it. Oh, I think I know. Okay. This is going to be tricky. I'm going to see if the camera, if I can zoom it in. So the vine here on the end is the variegated one, but then the other one that shot out, there's actually a node above this one that I can cut it back to, and maybe it'll grow with variegation. It's going to be a really close cut. So I'm basically going to cut on the stem right here is where I'm going to cut. hope that was the right spot. Shucks, and it's a bit rooted in here. Oh well. Okay, yes, that was the right one. So this is all reverted, and what I'll do is just propagate this up individually, because yeah, there's nothing variegated from all these leaves, so that's not going to grow variegated. So where I chopped, it should grow a new growth point from the lower node right in here, which is right the node of this leaf. So hopefully that comes in with variegation. We're going to cross our fingers. And I can always cut this back like again in the future if I decide like this one strand that's growing isn't doing much of anything, then. And I think I said I was going to cut this one back to here just because it's growing so leggy now. Even though this leaf has some variegation. I hate to cut it though. You can actually see variegation on the stem, and then it kind of stops when it gets to here. This one is all green. You know what? I'm just going to go ahead and take a chance, and I'm going to cut it back to this leaf that's variegated. Right here, because there's variegation on the stem. I'm going to do it. I wasn't planning on chopping that. I really don't even need to extend it then right now, but I might as well, because once this gets growing, I don't want it to trail off the pole. So it should regrow in 2 spots. It should grow down here and from that node. I'll get back to that in a second. So I'm going to keep these separate for now because this is growing on the variegated end. So this has variegation on the stem, even though this leaf is all green, that node could grow in variegation. This leaf is variegated, which means the stem is still variegated, and then the stem kind of, there's like a little line of variegation still left, but that one's all green. That one has a little variegation. So I feel like the new growth out of here will be pretty good. And so I'm not going to chop these up until last because I want to keep these in separate containers. Because yeah, I feel like this one is just going to grow all green, even though I'll chop it. I'm actually just going to sit these on the floor for right now. And yeah, let's go ahead and do our extension. I'm kind of sad that I cut it. That's okay. I kind of knew in my head like that this was probably just going to be like an experiment. If I can find a good one, I haven't looked for them in a while, but if I can find a good one that I feel like will be a good specimen to grow highly variegated, I'm still going to be on the search for one. Okay, well, let's dump some moss in here. Heard a noise. I was like, oh, my husband's inflatables are turning on. He has them on a timer. The moss in this pole is all green because it's all filled with algae from getting such high light. I'll only fill this one a little bit with moss actually. I was going to fill the whole thing up, but it's going to take a while for this to regrow, so it'll buy me some time. That way I don't have to water the whole thing when I go to water it again. go ahead and stack her on the inside. Okay, I think we are good. We are all set for new growth. And let me quickly water. I'm just gonna add a little bit down here. I had watered this not too long ago, so just moisten it with the new mix. It's like green and then it's like normal moss color. Look at the difference, isn't that funny? Let me very quickly wipe these leaves. Because the spider mites and the mealies have shown up in this room. I can't wait to get my bugs. I'll film it for a Vlogmas when they get here. I think they're supposed to ship sometime next week. So I ordered crypto L bugs and some more Californicus mites. I ordered them from a different place. I normally order from Nature's Good Guys, but I ordered them from a different place this time. That one's all done. And yeah, let's go ahead and prop these. Actually, let me go ahead and take you. I would like to, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'd rather just stick these in a cup of water, like 2 different cups. So the variegated side and the regular side. So I'll either take you to my kitchen sink really quick, so that way I can clean these leaves, or the bathroom sink, and then I'll get 2 glasses of water, chop these, and yeah, that'll be it. So I ran out of my glass vases, so we're gonna use some plastic cups for the vessels. I'm just gonna do one at a time so that I don't mix them up. Okay, and then we are going to cut right in between each node. Just gonna cut it here. That one. And this one has a little variegation, so I'm just gonna leave, since this leaf isn't unfurled, I'm just gonna leave this as like a top section. Just gonna sit in the cup a little weird. So these are all going to go into one. Okay, so that is from the variegated side. And then this one's all reverted. Hi. If these reverted ones don't grow into anything, what I'll do is just pot them up as like a regular Philodendron Micans, just do like a trailing pot of it. What I'll do is just leave these out here on the table because these have been in my plant room. I'd rather keep them out here. All right, so we have non-variegated, variegated, and then I forgot to show you. Let me show you one other prop. I forgot I had this one as well too. So this is a cutting, and I actually need to get it potted up, but the first little leaf is of course all green, but that's like a nice variegated leaf. So I was waiting for it to root. It doesn't have a lot of roots. So I don't know, I've had this one in water for a while. I'm actually going to give this guy some nutrient water instead. I think I'll leave it potted up for a while. Maybe once all these roots, all of them root, then I'll do this one as well. But yeah, so I have that cutting as well. So yeah, I'll probably set all these over here by the window, and that way I can keep an eye on them and kind of isolate them. I'm happy I chopped it. I'm kind of sad in a way, but I'm excited to see what happens. I just put them on this container for now, just close to the window. I'll have to find a new spot, but that'll be okay for right now. I'll make room. What I'll probably do is, I might make room for them. I can probably scoot these over and maybe do like the 4 in that little corner. The moss pole I put back in the window. That's the spot that I had it. I had an empty cash pot. It's a little bit big. Those are for my bigger poles. And that's how far the extension goes to. So it's been kind of getting some pretty good light in that corner. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens when that starts to grow back. But yes, thank you so much for watching and for joining me with Vlogmas. Chai says hi, or Chai actually says bye. And I will see you tomorrow for Vlogmas Day 5.